Excerpt from One World, an Akiria novel by Ailene Lynn Ray, read by Louise, one half of the Akiria series writing team. Chapter 16. Clarence and Trisha fell from the sky and landed hard on a sticky, wet wooden floor. Trisha managed to put in a bit of a roll, protecting her head and spreading the impact to her outstretched arms. Clarence had no such skill and landed with a painful crunch that made Trisha wince even as she negotiated her own fall. In moments, she was on her feet, running to kneel at Clarence's side. With a quick glance around, her eyes found Digger perched for all the world like a gawky stork on the railing. Of a ship! Holy shit, they were on a ship! Trying to clear her muddy thinking from another whaling trip through whatever it was they had traveled through, it took her long moments to register the yelling around her. Clarence groaned as she checked that he was still breathing. The right earpiece of his glasses was broken and hung precariously from his ear, but at least he was alive. Her wellness check was brief, and her eyes were already taking in details in front of her. Blood. Lots of blood. At first, her heart practically fell out of her chest, thinking it was Clarence's, but the smears led off in different directions, to piles of bodies. And the yelling was coming from a gathering group of men, waving weapons of every sort, but oddly staying back from where she sat with Clarence. Well, if there was ever a moment for a good old-fashioned oh hell no, it was now. Fighting back the urge to curse, Trisha slowly rose and watched the strange men jerk back a bit. The ship swayed under her feet and she felt herself go a little green. Green. With a shock, she suddenly grasped how they looked so odd. They were green. Every last one of them was some shade of green. And their hair. They looked like a Rastafarian had lost a bet with a Dominican monk. The crowns of their heads were completely bald, but thick dreadlocks sprouted from the sides in a profusion of blacks, browns, or grays. Beads, rings, other jewelry, and what looked like bone pieces were braided in the dreadlocks, and most of the green guys sported various piercings and blue tattoos like Celtic war paint. Seriously? They were trapped on a ship with green death metal pirates? Someone was missing out on a really good band name. She shot a quick glance behind her, and noticing how close they were to a wide mast, Trisha made a calculated move. Keeping a close eye on the spooked greenies, she grasped Clarence under the arms and dragged him back to lean against the mast, his glasses swinging from his left ear. Then she planted herself in front of Clarence. One of the greenies had gathered enough sense to holler down to someone in the bowels of the ship. The rest continued to shift uneasily, but Trisha had no doubts that they were pretty handy with the weapons they held. The bloody evidence of their skill was everywhere. Trying to piece together their situation in 30 seconds or less, she clicked her eyes from the piles of dead bodies to the battered ship, to the other ship that floated abreast of the one she was on, and Digger. What the hell was up with Digger? He was gawping out at the water like he had never seen water before, or had lost his mind when the gem yanked him out of his world. In the back of her mind, she groaned. Just what she needed. Another Clarence. So the crux of the matter? They were screwed. One set of greenies, death metal pilots, had slaughtered a uniformed set of greenies. Soldiers, probably. Oh, this was good. From the banging in the hold, Trisha had a suspicion that these pirates were likely to sink the ship they were on. Proclaimed practically every pirate movie that she had ever watched. Door number 1 held death by sinking ship. Door number 2 held death by blade. And door number 3, well, door number 3 didn't bear thinking on. I'll take unlikely escapes for 1,000, Alex. While she frantically tried to come up with options, death by door number 4 climbed out of the hold. A very large and scary-looking head was quickly followed by a very large and scary-looking body. He had to be at least 7 feet tall and muscled beyond belief. Everything about him just screamed pirate captain. Rings in his ears? Check. Blue tattoos? Check. Oh, hey, and look, he's even got a couple of small tusks protruding from behind his lower lip. Isn't that cute? Peter Pan pirate, he was not. The big pirate guy stepped onto the deck, and his men parted like he was a green Moses. He stepped to the front of his men and gave her, Clarence, and Digger a casual perusal. If he was surprised by their appearance, he wasn't letting on. Tie them up and put them in the bottom of the hold, he ordered without preamble, and headed toward the other ship. Not a hi, who are you, or even what the hell's going on here, just a toss 'em in the hold, boys. Trisha gave another desperate look around and yanked one of the pin thingies from the round thingy around the mast. Hey, nautical linguist she was not, but she recognized a possible weapon when she saw one. She hefted it in her hand as a group of the greenies cautiously circled her. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw the captain pause near the rail and turn to watch, a veiled look of surprise crossing his face. Trisha shot him a flashy grin and a wink. Something about his casual disregard for her and her friends made her want to find the bastard's buttons and push all of them. If she was going to die, she was going to make a splash. Oh, there was definitely a pun intended there. The first greenie stepped up to the plate, and Trisha spun past his blade and gave him a nice double tap to the side of his head. He dropped to a groggy, groaning heap, and the others halted in drop-mouthed disbelief, but Trisha knew that wasn't going to last. She crouched a little, her arms and legs loose, ready to spring. She grinned again. "I know this is cliché and all," she drawled, "but who's next?"